Star Wars The Clone Wars just released their 6th and final season. I've been watching this show since 2008 and have really enjoyed it. Now that it's over, I thought I would give my thoughts and opinions on the series. I'm going to go through each season and the movie, pick out my favorite parts, some of my least favorite parts, and just some things I found to be interesting. There may be some spoilers for the first 5 seasons, but I won't give anything away in season 6 without giving you a warning first. So, I guess I better get started. Let's start from the beginning. When it was announced in 2008 that there was going to be a theatrical movie followed by a Cartoon Network TV series called Star Wars The Clone Wars, I was a little bit confused. Cartoon Network had already made a series with the same name, but no, I was mistaken. That series was called Star Wars Clone Wars, and this one is called Star Wars The Clone Wars. I was actually a big fan of the original Clone Wars show, and enjoyed watching it in between the making of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So I didn't understand why they were going to make it again. So I did some research and I found out about Ahsoka, who was supposed to be Anakin's apprentice. I thought, wait, what? Anakin can't be a master. In episode 3 they specifically say that he can't be a master. And this is before episode 3.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
So I thought maybe this was supposed to replace episode 3. Maybe it's like an alternate timeline where Anakin didn't turn into Darth Vader. And that would explain why they were doing it again, because it would be different. But no, that's not right. They said it was taking place in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, just like the other series. And then I thought, Ahsoka isn't in Revenge of the Sith, so why would they do that? That means that she's gonna die, or she's gonna go into hiding? And that makes no sense though, because Anakin would definitely have mentioned her in episode 3. So I just didn't really get the show or the movie, and wasn't really that interested in it. So I did not see the film in theaters. I waited until it came out on DVD, and I thought I'd give it a chance. The film got a lot of mixed reactions from fans and critics. In my opinion, the movie was actually better than I thought it would be, but it wasn't great. Only 3 of the original cast members came back to do the film. Samuel Jackson as Mace Windu, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, and Christopher Lee as Count Dooku. The film starts off in the middle of a battle that Anakin and Obi-Wan were leading. Here we meet Ahsoka, who comes in the middle of the battle. I thought it was weird how they sent Ahsoka in while Anakin was still fighting. At first, Anakin doesn't want an apprentice, and throughout the movie he warms up to her and starts to like her. That's the main point of the movie, so it would roll into the TV series. But of course, there had to be a larger plot to cover all that. The plot is for Anakin and Ahsoka to go on a mission to save Jabba the Hutt's son, who was kidnapped. Obviously, it's a little bit out there with Jabba having a son, but the story gets the job done, which is just to make Anakin and Ahsoka warm up to each other. But the best part of the film for me is when they introduced Ventress. I think they nailed her character. Of course, I remembered her from the original Clone Wars series, and she was also in some of the comics. She looked amazing, and her voice was spot on. It was so menacing and evil. It fit her character perfectly.
Where is Skywalker?
Another one of my favorite parts of the film was seeing a battle between Ventress and Obi-Wan. It looked great, and it was a treat to see Ventress fight again. All in all, it was an okay movie. But you have to remember, it wasn't going for anything special. It was just an opening to the TV series. When the first episode of the TV series came out, I was thinking it was going to be one of those stupid shows that only airs for 1 season and then it gets cancelled. But I was wrong. The first episode got me hooked. It was the perfect way to start the series off. You see Yoda kick some ass. He's challenged by Ventress to survive out in the wilderness while the droids go looking for him. I think it was a really good idea to have the first episode revolve around a character that we are familiar with. And I love the way Yoda interacts with the clones. It was a great series premiere. Throughout season 1, the show became known as a violent kids series, and these two things don't mix very well. People were angry that it was too violent and the kids shouldn't be watching it. And they were right, it is very violent. They aren't afraid to kill off main characters or show some violent action scenes. The show was made for more of an adult audience rather than a kids audience. One thing that's cool about the series is each episode begins with a quote that has something to do with the episode. My favorite episode of season 1 is called The Hidden Enemy. The episode is supposed to take place right before the Clone Wars movie. Right away, the episode has some awesome action. Later on, we find out that a clone betrayed the Republic. It's really challenging to find out who it is because all the clones look alike. Rex and Cody try to solve this mystery, while Anakin and Obi-Wan face off against Ventress. I love how there's a lot of focus on the clones and the way they interact. It's just an awesome episode. For the season 1 finale, we're introduced to a new character named Cad Bane. He's an ass-kicking bounty hunter. His voice sounds awesome.
How about you fellas step aside?
Cad Bane leads a gang of pirates and bounty hunters to free Jabba's cousin, Zero. Within the first couple minutes, we see that Bane is a badass, ball-busting mercenary who isn't afraid to pull the trigger. Bane captures all of the senators, including Padme. It's a real nail-biter at the end, and it was the perfect way to end the first season. In Season 2, they started naming seasons and based the episodes on these names. Season 2's name was Rise of the Bounty Hunters. For the Season 2 premiere, they made a trilogy of episodes. It is a common thing throughout the series to have two-parters or trilogies of episodes. In this trilogy, they reveal that there is a holocron in the Jedi Temple. It tells you all of the future Jedi. Darth Sidious asks Cad Bane to steal it for him. Right off the bat, they have Cad Bane, which is just awesome. Season 2 introduced us to Death Watch and Duchess Satine. Death Watch is a group of people who spread violence around Satine's planet of Mandalore. Satine refuses to fight, which is why Death Watch attacks them. The leader of Death Watch, Pre Vizsla, has an awesome lightsaber that was stolen from the Jedi Temple by his ancestors during the fall of the Old Republic. It's a black lightsaber and it's shaped more like a samurai sword. It looks really cool. We also find out that Obi-Wan and Satine used to love each other, but couldn't be together because of the Jedi Code. So we see that he struggles with a lot of the things that Anakin struggled with, but he gets past them. For the Season 2 finale, they made a trio of episodes that focuses on Boba Fett. He wants to get revenge on Mace Windu for killing his father, which is what we saw in Attack of the Clones. I thought it was a brilliant idea to have Boba in the Clone Wars. Boba sets up multiple traps for Windu that barely miss. Then we see an awesome speeder bike chase between Aura Singh and Ahsoka. The chase is a lot like the one from Return of the Jedi. Season 3 title was called Secrets Revealed. This was a very good season. For the first episode, we see a team of clones taking and retaking their final test to become actual clone troopers. The team doesn't know how to work together and ultimately lets their downfall every time. At the end of the episode, we see them rise to the challenge and pass the test. They give each other nicknames. The names are Echo, Fives, and Heavy. In Season 1, there was an episode called Rookies. Here we see the three of them as shinies, meaning that they were straight out of training. In this episode, Heavy sacrifices himself to save the Republic.
We've got those tinnies on the run, thanks to Heavy.
In the Season 3 episode, one of the ARC troopers says something pretty cool.
Start the Citadel Challenge. Version THX, variable 1138.
Now he said THX 1138. This is one of George Lucas's first movies. It's based on a screenplay he wrote in college. I just thought it was really cool how they snuck that in there. There was a lot of action in Season 3, but in my opinion, that's not what made it good. I think the thing that made it good was some of the stories they told. They were much more complex and better written than the previous seasons. This includes the Night Sisters trilogy, where we learn about Ventress's past and are introduced to Savage Opress, who is the same species as Darth Maul from The Phantom Menace. There was also the Mortis trilogy, which is my favorite part of Season 3. Here, Anakin is put in a weird dimension where he's tested to see if he truly is the Chosen One. The test is to control a brother and a sister. The brother is on the dark side, and the sister is on the good side. They have to maintain balance, because that's what balances the Force. They're currently controlled by their father, but he's getting old, and needs the Chosen One to maintain the balance of the Force. There are many plot twists, and there's some treats, like seeing Liam Neeson returning as Qui-Gon Jinn. There are actually a lot of characters from the movies that came into play in Season 3. There was Greedo in Sphere of Influence. I thought it was weird though because he spoke English. In the movie he spoke a different language. Another character that came back was General Tarkin. He and Anakin even exchanged a few words. Chewbacca even came back for the season finale. Now as good as Season 3 was, there were also a few boring political episodes, but all in all it was a very good season. In Season 4, there were a lot of new animation changes, and I liked them a lot. I think they made it look a lot better, and I think that makes the show better as well. This season was called Battle Lines. The name fit very nicely with the first trilogy of episodes because it was an all-out water war. We saw this briefly in the original Clone Wars series. This one was much more complex though. One of the best parts of the season was a 4-part series of episodes where we're introduced to General Krell. He's a Jedi who goes to the dark side.
A new power is rising. I've foreseen it. The Jedi are going to lose this war, and the Republic will be ripped apart from the inside.
That's pretty intense. Another series of episodes was very weird and cool. Obi-Wan fakes his death so we can take the form of a criminal and find out what Bane's plan is. The best part of this series of episodes is called The Box. You have to make their way through an obstacle course, and if you mess up, you die. Of course, the biggest and most anticipated part of Season 4 was seeing Darth Maul return. As I said earlier, Darth Maul was in the Phantom Menace, and he was cut in half by Obi-Wan. So it was a little bit far-fetched to have him come back, but he's just really a badass character, and he had to come back in some way. It was too short in the movies. Savage Opress, who we met in Season 3, is looking for his brother, as he calls Maul. He finds Maul, and he sees he's gone crazy.
During my dreams of broken the chains. The chains are the easy part. It's what goes on in here that's hard.
He brings him to the Night Sisters. They do some voodoo thing on him, and when he's back to normal, all he wants is revenge on Obi-Wan. He lures Obi-Wan to a place where he and Savage corner him and beat the shit out of him. It was a pretty good season finale, and it was just great to see Darth Maul back in the Star Wars universe. For some reason, Season 5 didn't have a name like the other seasons. And I think that's because these episodes were so random and different. The season starts off with Obi-Wan chasing Maul and Savage, where he left off in Season 4. And that's pretty much the whole episode. It wasn't very great. We then see a 4-part episode dedicated to war. We see Ahsoka struggling with seeing Lux with another girl, because the two of them have a sort of romantic history. The main point of this series, though, is the war. Rebels rise up and take back the planet with the help of Ahsoka. I actually liked these episodes and enjoyed watching a sort of throwback to a small group of rebels fighting a higher power, just like we saw in Return of the Jedi. In the next few episodes, we see how a lightsaber is constructed, which I really enjoyed. And we also see the test that you have to take to become a Jedi. Ahsoka and Yoda take young Padawans to a winter planet, and they have to go into a cave and get a crystal for their lightsaber. I don't know why Ahsoka went, because she's still a Padawan herself, but whatever. I thought that these episodes were pretty cool, but I think they took it way too far. After that, they had 3 more episodes with the kids running from pirates, and it was honestly just boring. The next 4 episodes were even worse. They sent a batch of droids, including R2, to get an encryption module from the enemy ship. These episodes were much different than the previous episodes of the series, and were not very good in my opinion. Although I did enjoy some of the comedy.
Some of you may not make it back.
Why is he looking at me? Were you just looking at me?
The only thing that redeems this series of episodes is in the end when they introduced an ARC trooper who lost his memory and forgot he was a clone. He then risks his own life to help the droids get off the planet that they were stuck on, and there's an amazing show of blowing things up and shooting things down. The first half of Season 5 was very disappointing in my opinion, but the ending of the season was phenomenal. I thought it was some of the best episodes they ever put out. Darth Maul and Savage Opress return and team up with the Death Watch and many other planets to create an ultimate army. They take control of Mandalore and all hell breaks loose. There's a massive war. The visual effects for these episodes were outstanding, and you can see how far they've come from the very first episodes. There are many plot twists and a few deaths in the story arc, and there's some awesome kick-ass action scenes. One of the best parts was seeing Darth Sidious come out to fight Darth Maul and Savage Opress. These episodes were all outstanding. For the season finale, there was a 4-parter that focused on Ahsoka. She's wrongly accused of killing a woman in prison. They put her in jail and she's expelled from the Jedi Order. She then escapes, which is an awesome sequence in itself, and then runs into Coruscant. This is another example of how far the animation has come since the earlier days. We get to see some amazing shots of the Coruscant underbelly. This is the first time we've gone this far into Coruscant, and it's outstanding. There are some amazing visual effects, and there's so many creative ideas in this. In the ending of these episodes, Ahsoka is freed and is welcomed back to the Jedi Order, but she refuses. She then walks away from the Jedi forever, and that's how Season 5 ends. We all knew it was coming because she is in Episode 3, but I was still sad to see her go. I think they did a very good job writing how she leaves, because when she leaves, she's been the victim of this situation, and that makes us feel for her, which makes the goodbye to her character more powerful. After Season 5, they announced that they were canceling the show because Disney had bought the rights to Lucasfilm. However, they had already made most of Season 6, and had already shown previews of it, so nobody really knew how they were going to release it if not through Cartoon Network. I actually didn't think they were going to release it at all, so when I heard that Netflix picked it up, I was thrilled. This season had 13 episodes, and the season was called The Lost Missions. These episodes began to tie up loose ends for Episode 3. I think that this was sort of like the beginning of the end. We see the Chancellor taking baby steps to fulfill his plan, and loose ends just starting to get tied up. Unfortunately, they won't be able to tie up every loose end, but I'm happy we get to see some new episodes. Now, the episodes themselves. The first 4 episodes focused on Fives, which is awesome because I love Fives. He begins to discover all about Order 66 and how it was planted in the clones' minds. Of course, Order 66 is the order Palpatine gives to the clones to kill all the Jedi at the end of the Revenge of the Sith.
Execute Order 66.
I thought it was a good idea to focus on that, and I found it to be very interesting. But all in all, I was very pleased with these episodes and enjoyed them a lot. I think they were my favorite part of this season. The next 3 episodes focused on Padme, which normally is an indication that we were about to see a boring episode. And for the most part, I was right. The character named Clovis, who we saw back in Season 2, returns. He and Padme work together to save the banks of the universe. Just like in Season 2, Anakin gets jealous of them, and it focuses on Anakin and Padme's relationship, which I didn't really care for. But this time we get to see Anakin beat the shit out of Clovis, which is very satisfying. The redeeming factor of this story arc is a chase on the snowy mountainside. It is exciting and really well done. Now here's a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know the ending, skip ahead about 10 seconds. I really loved the redemption aspect of Clovis' character. When he gave his life to save Padme, I felt for him. It made me like him when a few seconds before that I hated him. All in all, I thought this was an okay story arc. It wasn't great, but it had some good highlights. The next story arc is a 2-parter that focuses on Jar Jar and Mace Windu. Seeing Jar Jar, I thought, oh crap, this is gonna be bad. But it wasn't actually that bad. It wasn't like Bomb Bad Jedi from Season 1. It was much better than that, but I think it was my least favorite story arc of this season. The next story arc was only 1 episode, and it focused on Master Sifo Dyas, who was a Jedi who supposedly ordered the clone army. We also learn about who Tyrannus is. Both of them were mentioned in episode 2.
Master Sifo Dyas was killed almost 10 years ago.
I was recruited by a man called Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogdan.
I thought it was smart to do a story about them, because a lot of people were confused when they were mentioned in the film. I thought that this episode was well written and well executed. It's probably my second favorite story arc of this season. The last 3 episodes focused on Yoda communicating with Qui-Gon Jinn, who died in the first film. We see Yoda learn how to communicate to the dead, which we know he uses later in the films. My favorite part of this was when Yoda went into the tree in Dagobah, where he sent Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. We then see flashes of what's to come in episode 3. I thought it was a good ending for the series. I like how the first episode of the series focused on Yoda, and the last one did too. We went full circle. I'm gonna miss this show a lot. It's a shame we won't get to see the entire story, but I'm satisfied with the ending. It's a great show and I'm gonna miss it. I hope you guys enjoyed my summary and review, and thank you for watching.